Welcome back, fellers. This is a little something different, which is a good thing. Not something I plan on going into for the next 3 months, so like Napoleonic stuff, but it's nice to take a break sometimes, and I'm sure you guys would agree. Even though the sun does rise and set on Napoleonic stuff, yeah, we still need to take a break sometimes. All right, so what are we taking a break with? I was cleaning house, as I want to do on occasion, and threw a bunch of stuff out, which hopefully I won't regret. Mostly things I've created on paper, but you can only keep so much of this stuff over time. Anyway, I did stumble upon something that I found and had printed out and forgot about, and that is these guys. Now, these are screenshots that somebody took for a game that was being developed for, I don't know what. It looks like Medal of Honor or Call of Duty or Call of Honor or Medal of Duty. One of those things. Could be wrong. Somebody out there might know what that's from. But anyway, I thought there's a game in here with these great pictures, and I cut a few of them out, 12 of them to be exact. We can expand as needed or wanted, but this is what I'm going with right now. And representing a kind of World War II block-to-block Carentan city fight. How will that work? Well, that's a good question. I fiddled with it a bit yesterday, and I had a lot of fun. I mean, if things weren't working and I was just banging my head against the wall, we wouldn't be seeing this video. But I think I had a little minor breakthrough, and it turned out to be something fairly interesting. So what do we have here? We have the counters from Old School Tactical. Shane, how you doing, buddy? And the core bulk of the rules, also Old School Tactical, with, as you might expect, some amendments. So, even though it doesn't show it on the cards, look at each card as if it has a crosshair on it. If you do so, then you'll notice that each card can be broken down into 4 sections. The graphic background is simply that, a graphic background for flavor. It doesn't represent anything that a unit needs to be directly on or in a certain area to be incorporated into a specific part of the picture. As I mentioned, this is a generic city block. So, each card has 4 sections. We'll get more into the rules as we go along. It'll just be easier to show than to tell, or show and tell. And I didn't do this yesterday, but gosh darn it, it's such a ingenious, cheap, quick little method for solo play. Now, if there were 2 of you, then perhaps it's different. You could set up off map and bring them on, or you could set up on map. But what I have going here is the chits. Now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 German units, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 American paratroopers. We'll need to roll some dice for some things. As of now, we have no casualty points, victory points for the Germans or Americans. This is our, what Shane calls the gut check. Well, we could just call it a morale check for each side. Germans have a 7, which is about average if you're rolling a 2 dice 6, needing equal or less. The Americans have an 8. You could argue they should have a 9 because they're paratroopers. I'll let you guys argue that amongst yourselves. And then we have 4 turns. Don't know how many turns we'll get through, and how did I arrive at 4? I don't know. It's an arbitrary number. So let's go ahead and roll our action points for the Germans. We're rolling 2 dice 6, and that is a healthy roll of 9. And then for the Americans, even better, we get a 12, so no shortage of action points this turn. So if we bring the Americans on first, and we come here, we'll need to draw a chit. A number of chits, actually. We need to draw a chit for here, and we're good there. So let's put a leader, a squad, and a medium machine gun here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that crosshairs, 1, 2 to enter, 3, 4, or you could just say 1 and 2, but the movement factors on here are 4, so I say 2 movement factors to move through each sector. That's done, but that's not all. Wait, there's more. If you order now, you take 2 of these guys, and I'll tell you what these mean in a second. This is a 6, and this is a 2. So, the 6 represents the level of cover that he is in right now, and the 2 is a line of sight thing, which isn't functional now because we have nobody else to make line of sight 2, but we'll get to that as well. So then we need to draw chits for 1, 2, these guys. What about here? Yes. Here? No. And here? Yes. So, right off the bat, we've got some stuff going on. I need to deduct 1 action point for that move. So that'll go from a 12 to an 11. We'll put one of these guys on him to represent having moved. And then we bring our Germans on. We're going to put a leader, a second line squad, and a heavy machine gun here. Where here? Well, let's roll that up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's see. We need an 8-sided die, don't we? That'll make that easier. Remembering our sectors: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4 here. And let's just put a squad here. Where here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 here. Now there's no diagonal movement, no diagonal fire. So we don't have to worry about that. We'll leave that shit there to represent having already pulled for that, and leave that one there. In fact, I could probably put one here as well, just to keep track of things here. So there we go. Now we need to roll his cover and line of sight, and we'll see how that works. His cover is also a 6, and his line of sight is a 3. Now, hold on, let me do this guy too. Where did I get this idea? I just came up with it. I'm serious. I didn't steal this from anything. It's just from fiddling around. So here's how cover works. You're going to add, say he wants to fire here. You'll add the 2 blue dice. So that would be 3, 4, 5 divided by 2 and round down. So 2.5 is what you need is 3 or less for a clear, clean line of sight. So they have line of sight to each other, as does he, because that's a 3, half a 3, 1.5 round down 1. That's 3 or less as well. So these fellers all have line of sight to each other. Since he started first, let's finish his actions out and fire. He'll become used after doing so. Let's fire here. How do we do that? We have a fire factor of 4. Make that plus the heavy machine gun 5, 6, 7. His cover is 6. So that becomes a +1. So a little bit different than old school tactical when it comes to combat, but that's because we have heavy major cover being factored in. So what did I say? +1, 4, 5, 7, 6 from 7 is +1, so we'll roll 2 dice. We get a 7, so he could possibly break if he doesn't make his, again, what Shane calls a gut check, but I prefer morale check. Just call it what it is. And he's fine. So he avoided he avoided breaking. So next it goes to the Germans. Either of these folks can move, do something, activate. Remembering we have line of sight, so he doesn't need to move. If he didn't, and he wanted to gain line of sight, he would have to move. 2 ways to do that. You could actually move to a new sector, which would cause a new cover and a new line of sight roll, Or you could move in place, which simply just allows you to re-roll both dice. So, being that we do have line of sight, we'll go ahead and fire that off. Put a fire marker on him. I needed to bring this down to a 4 because I forgot to do so. We'll bring this down to a 4 for his firing. And let's add it up. He is, with that heavy machine gun, that's going to be a 3. With the second line squad is a 3, is a 6. 6 for cover is 0 column. We roll 2 dice 6. And we get a 9. So that is a casualty. So we flip him over. And he will fire again. So we'll drop that 4 to a 3. Mark him used. And roll those dice again. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Casualty, well, guess what? He's gone. Bye-bye. I forget what happens to the leader when that happens. We'll get rid of that too. Actually, we'll leave that. Is there a leader? Casualty check. Let me pause this and see about a possible leader casualty here. So there is, in fact, and technically I should have rolled for that as soon as that last casualty occurred. Let's roll 1 dice 6 and see what happens here. I think, whoops, uh-oh. On a 1 dice 6 roll of 4 to 6, he's okay. Okay, he's okay. Now it's the American's turn again. I'm allowing entry here, here, or here. Probably not the best idea to enter here. And should have done moving fire on him since he moved. Lots of things to keep track of. You know what? That's not even an 8-sided die. There we go. Now we're back. So what do we want to do here? Let's go ahead and move into here with a bar rifle. 1, 2 there. Yes. Did I deduct him? I don't remember. I think I did. Take always for this. The hardest thing for me with these action points is remembering to reduce. So 2 there for entry. That is a move. He moved, and we need to roll his. Yeah, that's exactly right. Cover and line of sight. So cover is 3, which is average. Line of sight is 6, which is bad. So if you wanted line of sight from here to here, that would be 6, 7, half a 7 is actually 3.5. So he does have it because we went 3 or less. So he does have line of sight. Let's go ahead and fire him. Mark him used. That'll be a 4 and a 5. He only has a 1 cover though, so that's pretty bad. Plus 4. Let's roll that up. Actually, it would be because he did move. I keep forgetting that. So 3, what's the same column anyway? I already marked him used. I can't remember if I did this or not. I'm doing it anyway, and let's roll. And I should have drawn for here. He gets a 4, which is nothing. Let's go ahead and draw our shit for here. We get nothing. So this is what we have for this half of the map. We don't know what's up here yet, but it should be 3 units up here somewhere. Up in here, don't know where. Oh, also these are control victory objectives. So right now, obviously controlled by the Germans. This would be the German turn. So we have to fudge this a little bit because these are the only 2 we have on the map. Actually, we haven't done anything with him yet. Let's fire him here. We'll get to fire him twice because he hasn't moved. That'll be, actually, let's fire him here because he's in less cover. So now it'll be a 3, and a 3 is a 0 column. And let's roll that up. Take this down to a 2. We rolled a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, which is, wow, the Americans are getting chewed up here. Casualty and a shaken check, so we'll mark him. We also need to roll for our leader. We won a 4, 5, or 6. We lost our leader. And we need to take a shaken check, which is 8 or less. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The Americans are not doing well. He is now shaken, lost a leader, and took a casualty check, or took a casualty. And guess what? He gets to fire again. Mark him used. And that is again a 3 going into a 3, which is 0. Mark that. And 5, 6, 7 should be, he's already shaken. Shaken check, 8 or less. He passes that. Okay, American turn. As the Americans, we want to roll forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's our move. Do we have anybody to fire at? If you fire, I'm allowing fire from card to card, even though you could argue there's a sector here and a sector here. Well, that would be diagonal fire though. So 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a full move. Take this down. Let's go up one more. 1, 2, 3, 4 spent. So he does double move. And that's gone. So now we're down to 6. And we have to draw for these 2 sectors, hey? There's no diagonal move or fire, but I'm still allowing diagonal activation. So there's a guy as expected, and there's not a guy. Alright, guy, where you at? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Goodness gracious, they're right by each other. Let's put Lieutenant Kurtz and a second line squad with a light machine gun there. It is the German turn. So we'll take this down to a 1. He will fire. And we need to do, have I forgotten something? Yes, I have. We need to do this number. We'll do it first for the Americans. We've got a cover of 5, a line of sight of 1, both fairly good. We'll do this guy here. Level of cover is a 4, line of sight is a 5. 5 and a 1 is a 6, half a 6 is 3, so there is a line of sight between those two. He will fire, and what will he fire with? He has that 2 on a light machine gun and a 3 for the squad, makes 5, versus a cover of 5 is 0. Remembering, again, I'm doing this a little bit different than the core orthodox rules for old school tactical. Let's see what he gets. 4, 5, 6, possibly shaken. We'll find out. He is shaken because I rolled a 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And again, the poor Americans just having all kinds of trouble here. This should be taken down. That leaves 4, right? And he will fire again because you get 2 actions. Same thing, which was a 5, 3, 4, 5 versus 5. 0 column. This time we rolled a 3 and get nothing. American turn. Haven't determined yet if you can move on to a card that is occupied by an enemy. I'm going to say yes. You can do that. However, yeah, we'll get to that. There's assault and melee that we need to consider. So let's take our next squad. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 1 move. Take that down to a 5. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Second move, he'll be used. Take that down to a 4. We need to draw a chit for here. Watch, it'll be red. No, it's not. So one of these two. Why do I have an extra chit? For God's sakes. Get out of here. Don't need this. Okay. Should be 3 left, and that's the case. Because of this? Is that why? I don't think I did one for here. Let's just say there's nobody there. I forgot. Okay, that was the American move. It was a double move. Germans again. Looks like everybody's used. So what does that mean? Does that mean we... Well, we know that... Let's just go ahead and... No, let's not do that. We're going to have to call it... Well, the Germans will pass because they're both used is what we'll have to call it. This guy is fresh. I don't even have anything on him. There should be... There's... What is the deal here? Why is there not something on him? Oh, that's because... Alright, so... The Americans should... So we're going to have to call this a turn because nobody can do anything at this point. And freshen everybody up. So we get free rally attempts for shaken and broken. Let's rally attempt him. 6, 7, 8. Yes, he's fine. What about this guy? 4, 5, 6. He's fine. So good quick rallies for the Americans. Take these guys off. And go about our business. So... It's a new turn. Let's roll for initiative here. Germans get the initiative. They'll go first. Also, we need to roll new action points. Wow, only 5 this turn for the Germans. And a healthy 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 for the Americans. And I said the Germans go first, correct? Believe I did. Well, let's just get right to it. Forgot to place his cover and line of sight. He has a horrible cover of 1, or good, depending on how you look at it. With line of sight of 5 makes 8. Half of 8 is 4, so they don't have line of sight to each other. However, he still has line of sight here. Even though he's closer, he can't see him. So 3, 4, 5, yeah. Let's roll that up. Take this down to a 1. For God's sakes. I think that's how that was. And mark him as fired. That is 3, 6. That's a 0 column. On the combat results table, 0 column rolled a 7. Which is possible shaking if we don't roll 8 or less. And we don't. So he is shaken. And that's just a leader anyway, so big whoop. And then let's move in place and see if we can change this. And that'll be a good example how that works. So since he fired and now moved, we'll mark him used. We'll take this down to a 5. And how do you do that? You move in place, you simply move. That is a 5, and this is a 5, so nothing gained there line of sight wise. 5 and 5 is 10, half of 10 is 5. Not 3 or less, so he's done. American turn. He should not be still used. American turn. Diagonal move. So here's another thing to consider, and I should actually write this down. Can you, so there's things to consider when entering, and this is part of game design development, right? When entering an enemy occupied card. So my question is there a kind of sticky zone of control, right? So you can enter an enemy occupied card, but can you enter and move through an enemy occupied card? And I'm going to argue yes. Because why couldn't you? All right, so how would we do that? Let's bring him on. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 1 move. Take that down to a 5. mark him moved. And then second move, 1, 2. We don't have enough to move. Well, we do have enough to move further, but I'm saying no stacking here at all. So he will have to stop here. Take that down to a 4. And roll his line of sight and cover. 3 and 3. Could be better, could be worse. There we go. Alright, so that was the American turn. German turn. What do we have here? 7, so 3.5. It makes 3. Let's fire here. 3 versus 3 is still 0, just like it was when I fired the last time. We'll take this down to a 4. Mark him fired. And roll it up. We get a 5, 6, 7 on the 0 column is possible shaken. German morale check. He's going to need a, I'm sorry, this is still American, so 8 or less. He's fine. And he'll take that second shot, become used. Same deal, 0 column. We get a horrible roll of 3. Now you want high rolls and old school tactical, so that is that. American turn. Do we hang back in? He's got a casualty reduction. I'm going to go ahead and fire 2, 3. That's going to be +2 here. Drop to a 3 on our action points. Mark him as fired. So +2. Roll that up. We get a 4, which is not going to do it. We'll fire again. Become used. Drop that to a 2. This time we get a 6. And a 6 is possible broken if they don't roll 7 or less, which they don't, so we have a broken unit here. Squad broke, put that there. German turn, we've got 5, 6, divided by 2 is 3, so they have line of sight. And we're looking at a 3 and a 4 and a 5, so also the 0 column, take this down to a 3. Mark him as fired. Roll it up. We're looking at a 6, which is possible shaken. We need to roll 8 or less. We do. He's fine. He'll take that second shot. Become used. Drop to a 2 on his action point total. Still a 0 column. And we get 5, 6, 7. Possible shaken. Unless he can roll 8 or less, and he does. 6, 7, 8. American turn, firing back. 0 column as well, or what is it? Yeah, 4, 5, +1 column. What does he get? 5, 6. Possible shaken, take that down to a 1. Mark him as fired. Roll 7 or less. Got it. They're not shaken. And fire once more. Drop to 4 points. Become used. What do we get this time? A 5, 6, 7 possible broken. Can they roll 7 or less? They cannot. Another broken German squad. Tables are slowly turning in the American favor. German turn. Do we have anybody that can do anything? No, they will have to pass, allowing the Americans to bring on, well, we have this guy, and well, we can bring on a new unit. Let's move this guy up. 1, 2, 3, 4. Drop that to a 3. That is 1 move. And then we need to draw for here and here. Let's do so now. Oh, there's a German unit there, and there is not a German unit there, which means, as you might expect, a German unit there. Where there? Let's roll that up. We need to roll those 1, 2, so he's here. Upper left sector, and this guy, upper left sector. We've got things to roll. 4 and a 2 on him. What about here? A 2, 1 and a 2 here. And what about here? 5 and 1. So in my opinion, what makes this unique, different, original than other things is the way cover and line of sight works. That's what I'm most proud of here. And there is immense potential to spruce this up with all kinds of fun things. So moved. Let's go ahead and fire with him, make him spent. That'll be, he's got 4, it'll drop to 3 for moving fire. He does have line of sight because half of 4 is 2. So 3, a cover of 1, that makes +2. We're rolling on the +2 column, 2-6, 5, 6, 7, possible broken unless he can roll 7 or less. He cannot. Another broken German unit. I don't remember if I took that down, probably not. Let's take it down anyway. German turn. This guy, the only guy that can do anything. What does he want to do? He wants to come out here. Here. Let's go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Reroll that. Take that down to a 1. Move marker. Thank you, Shane, for these moved fire markers. They're just perfect. Absolutely needed and really saved my brain. And then for his final doodah day, he's gonna fire moving fire, right? Yep, 5. Let's see. 4 -5 is the -1 column. And he rolled a 5, so I don't think that's going to be anything. It will not. Is that it? American, we have 1 American left that can enter the map. Where and how does he want to do so? This unit's broken, so you could argue he could go straight up the gut. 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be 1 move. 5, 6, 7, 8. 2 moves. Mark him used. There is opportunity fire here. I haven't adequately given any examples of that, but and that's just per old school tactical rules. Your opportunity fire. There's no group move. There's no group fire. There's no stacking. So that's it. That would be turn 2. So there's 2 turns. The Americans are close to the objectives. Not adjacent yet, but close. Perhaps the closest gentleman is, well, yeah, we do have one adjacent here, don't we? And the control doesn't necessarily represent a sector. You just need to be on this card, and to control that card, the sole occupant of that card. I didn't adequately portray melee, but again, that is also per the orthodox old school tactical rules. So yeah, you would just continue. Now everybody's on map here. We would roll again for initiative, continue in the same vein, re-roll our action points here. 2-6. That would be 6 a better roll. 9 for the Germans. 5, wow, 9 for the Americans. And again, as casualties are accrued per old school tactical rules, you're going to lose action points. What else? The potential that this has, as mentioned, is pretty rich. Now, granted, the thing to consider with designing anything is you can overload things and make it top heavy and then it'll fall apart. What do I mean by that? You can just pile on too much stuff. You might think it's cool, but it just becomes, at the end of the day, unnecessary chrome, if you will. So, but I had considered possibly integrating instead of just rolling for action points, integrating a action point accrual system in concert with say for instance a card hand a la up front maybe, and think commands and colors as well, where you're activating certain areas, or a card could represent certain actions you are allowed to do. You could complicate that further and say if you wanted to move, you would have a particular suit from a 52 card deck represent a move action, say hearts, and then if you had a 6 of hearts, you would need to roll equal or less than that 6 to move. You can complicate this and thicken it up as much as you want. And I have fun doing that, but you can get lost in the quagmire if you're not careful. That's essentially it. It's fun, it's playable, it's still a little lighthearted. Maybe none of that stuff that I mentioned is needed. What are your thoughts? You think it is adequate as is, or was there something that we are missing that should be in here? Again, I'll say it one last time. The real flavor of this is the line of sight rules and then the cover stuff. I kind of find it pretty fun and clever the way it works. All right, guys. So that was 2 turns of just a homebrew, off-the-shelf, concocted pot of Carentan City Fight World War II stuff. Just off the top of my head, I literally was fiddling around with this last night. This is the second time I've come to look at it. And that's what we got. So I apologize for the awful camera clarity. Someday I'll get a better camera. I keep saying that. But these cards do look pretty nifty. In fact, I'll show you again here. We have, and I don't remember where I found these, but that's just some of the cards. These stand to be added at some point or switched up, and it's great looking shots. It's all, I think this is actually a Carentan representation fight for some PC game that I found, and I just straight up ripped them off and took them because I thought, hey, there's a game in there. And lo and behold, I found it. All right, y'all, let me know what you think. Hope everybody's doing well. I still have some Napoleonic stuff that I'm working on over here. Big surprise, right? Similar stuff to, I think I did a video of this, or didn't I? I know I filmed a video a day or two ago of this, but I didn't post it yet because there were some questions that came up, and it just, the screws weren't tight enough yet on what I'm trying to do here to post it. But if you'll notice, I've got a card deck for the Napoleonics over here. So still doing the Grand Tactical from the Grand Tactical series of games, MMP, that I grafted onto this Napoleonic stuff. I love it. It works fine. Still doing that, but for some reason I feel like, and there's that old thing you need to be aware of. I feel like I could do something more. Maybe it's fine just as it is. All right, I've rambled on enough. Talk to you guys later.